And here we are again. In the previous chapter, we just discovered that we're going to be going through Shion's side of one of the stories. Let's continue with Chapter 2. In the previous chapter, indeed, we are going through Shion Sanazaki's point of view. She has escaped from her little institution of trying to brainwash women into petite and brainless little girls. And now she's pretty much on the lam, and is going to be living in Okinomiya. It's 1982. Again. The fifth year of the series of mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa, known as the Curse, 1 year prior to Keiji Maibara's transfer. I didn't hear a wake-up chime. Oh, you forgot to set your alarm. I'm not in school anymore. My brain is half asleep, but I'm aware of that. Waking up at the same time as the chime would go off at school doesn't feel good. I can't go back to sleep after this. Still, I'm not going to live a torturous school life anymore. I can make today either happy or boring. All up to me. That's really positive. I feel like I'm alive for the first time in a while. I didn't have any other clothes, so I was still wearing a school track uniform. Supposed to have been designed by some famous Italian person, but just looks plain to me. Really doesn't feel great to be in clothes from that school. I want to enjoy my freedom as soon as possible. I especially don't want to walk around outside wearing it. Should have Kazai bring me new ones later. And I should think of redecorating this room. After all, this is going to be my castle from now on. This is a room in a gorgeous apartment building in the suburbs of Okinomiya. The property is one a realtor and my dad's conglomerate obtained after a foreclosure due to some sort of dispute. Most of the residents moved out during that, so while there are plenty of rooms, it's a lonely complex that feels devoid of people. Plus, with the exception of the manager and a scant one or two others, all the residents are shady-looking people connected to my dad. It probably won't be much longer before the virtuous residents are driven out. The apartment I'm living in used to be the room they use for viewing, so it looks like a room in a business hotel. Fully furnished, but lacking daily necessities. I'll buy those things over time, though. Better that way anyway. It'll make it feel more like my own room. I don't know myself. I might have looked stupid. Okay, it might have looked stupid, but it helps psych me up. At the school, there was a TV only in the common room, and we weren't allowed to watch cable channels. I zapped through all those channels as a form of emancipation. Early in the morning, so nothing interesting was on. But I enjoyed it anyway. Commercials are fun to watch. Kazai dropped by with lunch right when I started feeling hungry. Good morning, Shion. Did you sleep well last night? Sleeping on the couch is a bit too uncomfortable. As a Japanese person, I wanted to sleep on a futon on the floor. This pickled radish is good. That's good to hear. Please let me know what you need later on. I'll try to get as much as I can. Thanks. Oh, you don't need to worry so much about me. I chose this life for myself anyway. And your wallet wouldn't last if I started extorting you, right? I had to be serious about my plan. I can't let myself take advantage of Kazai's wallet forever. I'm going to start a part-time job. I have to earn my own living. This is the life I choose, so naturally I'll have to take care of myself. That's reassuring to hear. But aren't you sure? If you go outside, eventually someone in the family will discover you. I gave that a little thought, which is why I need Mion's help. Kazai, would you mind calling the main house for me? When Mion answers, pass me the receiver. Well, whatever you say. What could be your plan? Kasai dialed a number. Funny to me that we're calling the main house, even though that's the place I most want to avoid at the moment. Hello? Good morning. Is this Shion? I am going through the wrong voice again. It's been a while. This is Kazai. Yes, good morning. Could you hold for a moment? I'm putting someone else on the phone. I took the handset. Hello? Can you tell who this is?
That voice! But that can't be true! Shion's supposed to be confined to St. Lucius! You can't be her!
Yeah, they forbid outside calls at the academy, but you're talking to me right now. Even my dim-witted older sister should understand what that means.
Did you sneak out of the school? How?
Not important. I really missed you, sis.
Shion.
That was as far as I could take it, and Mion had hit her limit too. We both burst into laughter, unable to keep our act. It's been a while since we laughed out loud with each other like this.
It's been forever, Shion. Seriously, what happened to you?
Not much to it. I haven't lied or anything.
Wait, then you really ran away? Oh, great job.
The security wasn't tight enough to keep me locked up in there.
Maybe the school should be grateful you escaped quietly. If you were serious, it'd be easy for you to blow up the whole building to make your escape.
Well, I could have done that, but I might have set it on fire. Kazai smiled at us in amazement, his face a blend of amusement and exasperation. Is it okay to talk to you now?
It's alright, Granny's out for a lesson. She's coming home later this evening.
That's good. We should get together and talk soon. Just over the phone for today, though.
Okay.
Did anybody report my escape to our grandmother?
Nope. We've heard nothing. I passed along all calls and guests for the main family for now, so no news reaches Granny without going through me. I'm sure she doesn't know.
Huh. Awesome. You really sound like the next leader of the Sonozaki family.
You know I don't like that. You should have taken my place.
You're the one with the demon, aren't you? Well, keep giving it your all. I'll be rooting for you from the shadows. Anyway, that's not important now.
You sound so indifferent. Well, that's okay, I guess.
If you hear anything about me, give Kasai a call, okay? I'd like to give you my number here, but I keep it secret for the time being. Sorry.
Alright, if Granny hears you fled to school, there'll be all kinds of trouble. I'll be on the lookout for now. And I'll let Kazai know if something happens.
Thanks. I also have a favor to ask.
I figured you would. Oh, money's out of the question, okay?
I never thought I could pester you for money. I just want to ask you for a little help with my part-time job.
I see, so that's it then. What exactly do you need?
We can communicate fast in a situation like this. We don't have to get into details because we know what's on each other's minds. Uncle Yoshiro's on my side, isn't he? I'm going to try and see if I can't get a part-time job at one of the businesses he owns. Then I'll call you when I know my shift.
So I just had to disappear while you're working, right? That's a little taxing.
What are you saying, sis? Aren't you turning down your only sister's request? Seriously?
Alright, I'll do it. I won't want to see how you'd retaliate if I turn you down.
Thanks. I'll buy you a cake from Shalanke Berthas. I'll throw in tons of pretty tarts.
Shion? Shalanke Bertha closed last fall.
Huh? Is that so?
Yeah, the owner had a stroke. Reopened the store once, but he got sick again. So, had to shut it down.
I see. That's a shame. I wouldn't be able to eat their Mont Blanc cakes to my heart's content anymore. I was disappointed in my favorite cake shop closed down, but more so that this town had changed without my knowing while I was gone. It was kind of regrettable. Are there any other changes that I don't know about?
Yeah, there are some. I'll tell you when we meet up next time.
Thanks. I'll tell you about my school life. Let's set a date. I'll call you.
Alright. I'll see you then.
Mion,
What is it?
how are you?
I'm fine.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm hanging up now.
Okay. See you.
It's really been a while since I last talked to her. I put down the phone and heaved a sigh as Kasai brought in some tea. So how did it go? You remember Uncle Yoshiro, who was in favor of me staying? I'll talk to him about my escape and ask him if he can hire me to work at one of his stores. Are you sure some other relative might find out? That's why I asked a favor. I'll contact her when my shift is set, and she'll disappear while I'm working. Get the picture? Kazai looked puzzled. Not really that difficult to grasp. It's simple. If somebody finds me at work, I'll tell them I'm Mion. Get it? Normal people wouldn't buy this kind of plan, but Kazai knows too well how easy it is for my sis and me to trade places. That's audacious. Or shrewd, I should say. I'm impressed. That a compliment, Kazai? Kazai looked amazed. If things go south, it'll affect him too. Considering the rules of my dad's profession, he won't be able to get away with just a mere apology. That's why he doesn't want me to do anything too risky. I think I have to make it up for him, since he helped me escape even knowing that is risk. Alright, no problem. If I find somebody talking bad about you, I'll beat them up. Thank you so much. I knew I could rely on you, Uncle Yoshiro. Uncle Yoshiro pounded his chest with his fist after offering me his assurance. He seems glad I turned him first. I'd be happy to help since I'm so impressed that you're trying to support yourself. If you were here for money, I'd turn you in to your grandmother right away. What? You're scaring me, Uncle. I knew he was reliable. He understood my situation straight away and promised to help. Manager, here's the shift chart. I'll put it here. One of the store clerks brought out a work schedule. There are many things I'm unfamiliar with written on it. So how much can you work? That depends on our respective schedules. I hope I can get in when I want to. That sounds a little irresponsible, but I know you're in a difficult situation. I'm depending on Mion for my work. Our schedules have to match. Of course, Uncle Yoshiro understood that. But I also knew he couldn't afford a selfish part-timer who only works when she wants to. In the end, he decides to hire me as an office helper and not an official worker. As a temp, I wouldn't have to have a work schedule. Uncle also decided to pay me out of his own pocket. It's fine as long as I can make enough to support myself. Sure. I expect to get what I'm paying for, okay? Don't call me uncle in the office. Alright, manager. Thanks for hiring me. Good. You'll get it. Once all the business talk was over, Uncle hounded me with all kinds of questions. He asked me things like, what is it like in a prestigious girls' boarding school? And so on. Apparently there were all kinds of rumors going around about the St. Lucia Academy that I was confined to, and everyone was curious about it. I added a few embellishments of my own as I explained how unordinary life at that school was. My uncle looked extremely delighted to hear all the little details about life in a secret garden for girls. Horny bastard! Once my uncle was satisfied, it was my turn to ask all sorts of questions. Wanted to know if anything peculiar happened while I was gone. I won't be able to act like Mion unless I can fill in the gap of information left in the past 2 years. Well, there haven't been many big changes. It's been quiet since the end of the dam conflict. I went to the academy only a bit after they froze the project. There was still a bit of tension then. Even after they shut down construction, things were still tense because it wasn't entirely cancelled, but the Onikafuji Guardians disbanded about a year later. Big ceremony held at the shrine. It's where the dam conflict officially ended. That's right, after I was imprisoned. Is everybody slacking now that the conflict is over? I guess you all had fun in playing war back then during the protests, did you? Try to imagine how much suffering the adults went through every time they had to come pick up their kids from the police station. Well, I can't deny that. It was like a festival for us. Uncle Yoshiro seems exasperated at how different kids and adults treated the conflict. Oh yeah, there was that dismemberment murder, wasn't there? The one where that fucking jerk of a construction manager got split into pieces. They still haven't caught the culprit behind that, have they? Did they finally catch him? What do they think of it? I don't think they've caught him yet. Oh right, that was me. That was Shion. Fuck! It happened the night of one Higurashi, didn't it? I remember everyone making a fuss about it being Oishira's curse. Pretty scary for kids. Yeah, Oishira's curse. Happened a year after, too. That's right. Scary, too, wasn't it? Who was it again? The guy who supported the dam died in an accident, right? A Hojo, wasn't it? Happened today at the festival. Everyone went crazy saying it had to be a curse. Horrifying. Definitely. The construction manager that everyone hated was killed and dismembered on the night at the Cotton Drifting Festival. That incident on its own was more than intense enough for the kids. The worst part was that his body was never found. Well, part of his body was never found. Made it almost a ghost story amongst us. We seriously believed his severed right arm was roaming in search of the body it belonged to. Didn't take long for the rumor of Oishira's curse to become a topic of discussion amongst occult researchers and the like, considering the circumstantial factors. Even so, the rumor faded away about a year after. After the dam project was officially frozen, we held the festival as purely a festival. But the curse struck again. The victim was a pro-dam activist who lived in Himizawa, last name of Hojo. He and his wife were on a trip and they fell off a cliff to their deaths. It was written off as an accident. Technically, the police were still searching for the wife's body. If I remember right, they never did find it, did they? Once again, the man most worthy of Oishira's curse fell victim on the night of the Cotton Drifting Festival. So the festival for Oishira's curse rose up again. Until then, he wasn't considered very important. At least in the world of us kids, it was just the name of the object of worship in the shrine, nothing more. I'd seen boys peeing on the archway, and I once stuck my hand into the offertory box. The existence of a god didn't matter much to us, but after 2 consecutive occurrences, the kids no longer doubt the existence of a curse. We were all shaken in fear of this guy. Everybody suddenly became interested in the old stories about him, too. We quietly listened to the musty old stories the elders had to tell, and we started genuinely believing in the tales of Oishira's miracles, which any of us would have laughed away before. The rules were awfully simple and clear. Enemies treading into Hinamizawa will be cursed. Villagers leaving will be cursed. What defined a village is terribly vague, though. Were we never allowed to leave Hinamizawa village? Was going to Okinomiya still safe? Was it a single step enough to be out, or a 3-day, 2-night hot spring trip still safe? We kids tried to draw our line. It was decided in the end that if you had a house in Hinamizawa or Okinomiya, you were safe. And it was okay to go on trips if you had a house in either area. I know it's weird, but those rules were made up by kids after all. According to those rules, I'd be cursed since I lived at a boarding school in such a remote area. I couldn't say it out loud because I felt embarrassed. But in fact, I was being a little scared of the curse. It happened again the year after. Sure is scary when it happens 2 years in a row. I still believe in Oishira's power. Shion, what are you saying? Don't you know? No. About what? Oh, right. You went to that school before it happened. That's why you don't know. He grimaced as if he said too much. As though he mentioned something I shouldn't even know about. Well, what is it? You can't leave me hanging like that. I think you're mature enough to know now. If you think my body looks underdeveloped, you should see an eye doctor. Either that or you're a pedo. No comment! Okay, I'll talk. It happened again the year after that. What happened? What are you talking about? When I was very little, I always had this tick before I heard something bad. It's like a gnome who lived inside me was giving me a warning. Like he was poking me with a small needle. When I felt this tick before my parents called me, they always either chide me or tell me something bad. I used to run away when I felt it. My senses seemed to have grown dull over the years. Even though my gnome poked at me, I just sat there. Happened. The year after the death of the Hojos. Last year, in other words. Did it happen the day of the festival? Again? 3 years in a row? That's right. You know, there's a shrine in Inamizawa, the Furude Shrine. The priest suddenly died the night of the festival. They said the cause of death is an unknown illness, and the same night, his wife threw herself into the swamp. A big uproar happened. The mayor even had to hold an emergency meeting. I don't think about the illness is true, but his death was very sudden. The priest was busy preparing for the festival, and he got sick around that time, so I guess he died of a heart attack or something. But it's just crazy that somebody died on the day of the Watanashi, 3rd time in a row. It's unbelievable so many people died on the exact same day. The coroner didn't find anything unusual about the cause of death, so nobody suspected anything was wrong, but you're right that the whole situation is abnormal. Only people who were likely to be cursed died on the day of the festival. Must be something behind this. Whatever's conspiracy or curse, there has to be. I decided to meet up with Mion at the library near Okinomiya train station. Not that I don't trust Mion, but I want to let her know where I live. Not many people use this library, so I won't see anyone from Hinamizawa here. It's very convenient for meeting someone in secret. After we discussed my life plan and work schedule, we moved to small talk. I've been away from this town for years. Things have changed. I asked Mion about those changes in detail just to fill in the gaps. While talking about various things, I brought up what Uncle Yoshiro told me about Oyashira's curse. Even before I left town, the curse already struck twice. The dismemberment murder on the first year left quite an impact. And the year after, the pro-Dan activist couple fell off a cliff. The day the villagers were enjoying their first Watanagashi festival since the dam project was indefinitely frozen. This one left quite an impact. The evil construction site manager was punished, and the next year a trader in the village met the same fate. If it had happened only once, people would have concluded it was just a bizarre coincidence. But when it happened 2 years in a row, people were far more likely to believe it was a curse. I know up to that part. And after I left town, the curse struck again for the 3rd time. People talked about the curse more intensively than ever, both Hinamizawa and Okinomiya. I have to rethink this. Oishiwa's curse had drastically gained credibility while I was away. It was still unclear with the first two incidents. But after it continued for 3 years straight, people's doubts changed to convictions. Even though the priest who died on the third year wasn't an enemy of the villagers, the fact that people in Himizawa didn't care for him much added even more credibility to the idea. Wasn't the priest hated by a few? Especially by the committee members? Yeah, they criticized him for being a fence-sitter. Towards the end of the dam conflict, the protesters were all taking aggressive stances, so they didn't like how soft he was. The priest that looked strict and scary, the way he spoke was always formal, but in reality he was very warm and reserved. Maybe it was because he was a son-in-law, having married into the family. I'm sure the priest and the personality were the perfect fit for a mansion shrine that was used for summer festivals and village meetings. But the gathering spot style atmosphere of the shrine changed completely when the dam war broke out and it became headquarters of Onikafuchi Guardians. Prior to the dam protests, hardly anyone worshipped Orishiru. Of course, the devout elders paid worship to him, but the average person treated our god like how'd you treat fortune-telling. Once the protests began, Orishiru was suddenly hauled out as the symbol of the village resistance, tracing the Orishiru faith back to its roots. It was an exclusive, elitist faith that believed its members were descended from a holy ancestor, different from the masses at the foot of the mountain, and that those tainted masses should never come near the village. Of course, such self-centered ideology wasn't acceptable anywhere in peaceful post-war Japan, so this doctrine was abandoned over time. Still, the idea remained, and that trudged it back up to fan the flames of nationalism and unite the town against the dam project. With the revival of those ideas, things only grew more radical by the day, and it didn't take very long for Onikafuchi Guardians to become very aggressive. After that, we were in a state of war. 100 million burning as one. Kill the white savages. Want naught but victory. That sounds eerily familiar. Adult kids both were gnawing at the bit, avid to repel the foreign invaders. Describing it like that makes it sound awful, like it's a reminder of the dark times of wartime Japan, but like I said before, for the kids it felt less like war, more like a village-wide festival. Despite calling this a festival, the dissenters were treated coldly. Their heartlessness lived up to the expression of wartime regime. The older couple who voiced their acceptance of the dam project in the midst of that atmosphere were truly brave. Then on the second year of the curse, died in an accident, and everyone believed it was the curse without question. So they were branded traitors and enemies of the village. They faced worse than just being ostracized as traitors. Everyone gave them cold shoulders and talked behind their backs. The only person who didn't treat them badly was the priest. While the priest never objected to the anti-dam movement, he also never objected to the Hojo couple's advocacy for accepting the government's eviction and restitution to rebuild new lives. Those unforgettable Hojos became a slogan as the three families, especially the Sonozakis, unite the village, turning them into scapegoats. So they must have found it very shameful to have a fellow member of the three families approve that, especially when it's the priest of the shrine that had become a symbol for the dam protests. As central figures of Hinamizawa, the three families were the backbones of Onikafuchi Guardians, so a difference of opinion was undesirable. And the priest was never accused of anything. But secretly people whispered that he was a heretic and that he was unfit to serve as a priest. That Orishiru's curse would strike him down along with the other rumors. Don't you think the priest was more mature than those around him? It was pretty cool, managed to keep his head and remain neutral while everyone around him grew fervent. Or fervent. Well, let's just call it angry. I thought Mion would share my opinion when I chimed back in, So when Mion gave me a forced smile and didn't agree with me, I was taken by surprise. If he were really mature, I think he would have cooperated with the others. He should have appeased him. He wasn't just the head priest, he was also the head of the Furude family. A time when all of Hinamizawa needed to be united. So having one of the families who are supposed to serve as examples disturb that harmony was... I don't know if that should be called mature. It's hard for me to tell. I was taken aback. I barely managed to say the following. Even though we're identical twins, we still have our own unique identities. Every now and then our opinions differed, but usually over something trivial. We never had a difference of opinion this big. It wasn't an enjoyable feeling, so I decided to probe her some more. I really like that word you use, appease. What are you trying to say? Are you saying the priest should have thought of the village as a whole and kept his opinions a secret? Meaning people shouldn't assert the self being before the whole? I'm not going that far. It's just I thought that as a member of the three families, you should have acted carefully. That's what I mean. Mion faltered a bit as my tone grew a little bit more like a cross-examination. Oh boy, Phoenix right! I realized I was speaking a little too harshly. What Mion expressed was probably the more mature opinion on our scale. When everyone needs to work together to stand up to a vast enemy like the government, people should refrain from actions that will destabilize that alliance. Writing it out and reading it now, I could understand that. But I wasn't mature enough to agree to such a totalitarian idea. Or maybe it wasn't me at all. Maybe Mion who made that mature judgment. We've been separated for over a year. I've been away from the town. In the meantime, Mion has been training to take over the headship of the Sonozaki family. She was treated as such even before I was confined to the institution. She sat next to the hag in ceremonies and in meetings, took her place when the hag was absent. But that was just it. We were never that different. Mion became very likely a successor since I've been gone. You sound like a grown-up now. She seemed to get what I was implying. Am I thinking like Granny now? That's good. You're the successor. You should think like the rest. You're definitely learned the art of ruling. I never learned anything like that. I'm just trying to act like her. You can't do it easily, too. That I don't want to. It's your role. Well, don't try too hard or you'll just tire yourself out. I didn't mean to be cold, but Mion seemed to take it that way. She smiled as if trying to pacify me, so I smiled gently back. Sis, Mion, what is it? Our separation had always been tough. Our names, the places where we live, our bodies. Mion looked down with a serious face, but then looked right back up. Maybe you think I'm jealous of that, but I'm not. We used to have some disagreements, but they were always small and forgettable. You don't have to feel sorry for anything. Up until birth, we were perfectly equal. Right after birth, we were separated by the grown-ups' priorities. I used to get mad about it when I was little. There's no denying that. But we don't have to start a disagreement over it. Mion seemed to understand what I'm trying to say. We each have our own characteristics, even though we're identical twins. Only we know the differences. We're also dependent on each other because of them. Mion seems more dependent. Always worries about me. If somebody gave her a cookie, she'd divide it in two and give a half to me. If somebody gave her candy, she'd wait until I said it was okay to eat it. On the contrary, I'm cold. I don't care about others if I'm satisfied. I put the candy in my mouth right away. I had to emphasize that I don't hate her. I'm well aware she loves me. We both know that. Mion must have been hesitating to put the candy in his successor in her mouth. I was waiting to see if I was okay with that. Do your best, Mion. I'll do my best to Shion. I tapped her forehead with my fist lightly. Mion put her forehead against my fist as if trying to feel the warmth. She's Mion, and I'm Shion. She's the successor of the Sonozaki family, and I'm just a vagabond. This isn't a distinction, but rather the individuality. We shouldn't worry too much about the other anymore. We should feel relaxed living as who we are with our own characteristics. Didn't have to say any of that out loud. We can communicate by touch just like this. Okay, thanks, Shion. No worries, Mion. Let's talk to each other whenever we want to, like we've always been. That'll never change, okay? Okay. Fair enough. Mion kept nodding with her forehead against my fist. I said goodbye to Mion before it turned into evening. We talked about the things that happened during my time away, and I enjoy having a chat between sisters very much. We were able to dissolve our unsettled emotions. We didn't used to do that. Maybe it's because we haven't seen each other for over a year. Whew. It was late afternoon. My heart felt lighter now. I stretched and looked up at the sky. It was clear, blue, and far away. No matter how tall I grow, I'll never be able to touch that sky. I'm Shion Sonozaki, girl who escaped from the life she was forced to live. Nobody will praise me for what I did or for what I'm going to do, but this is what I chose. I can think maturely, too. I psyched myself up. I should go shopping for dinner. Though I have Kazai's help, I need to save money. I love junk food, but it'll be cheaper to cook. Ironically, the culinary classes from that evil school will come in handy. Why not go to the shopping district in Kameyashiki? If I'm going there, then I need to take the other street. Cool breeze in the late afternoon felt nice on my skin. Kazai came to the door while I was putting stuff that I bought in the fridge. Wait a sec, I'm coming. Did you go grocery shopping? You must be tired. I don't get tired from grocery shopping. Oh, do you want dinner? I ended up buying enough for you, too. Is that alright? If you say so, I'll be happy to. Kazai looked curious about what I cook. You don't look like you'll believe in my cooking skills. You'll pay for that later. Are you putting these in the refrigerator? Well, let me do it. Oh, thank you. Is this amount of rice enough for you to do? Here goes nothing. Kazai skillfully packed food in the fridge while glancing at each item in turn. He noticed something. Shion, do you still hated canned food? I hadn't bought any. That was, of course, on purpose. It must be hard to avoid it. I know it's illogical. Maybe I could eat it if somebody forced me to. No, on second thought, I definitely couldn't. I feel really sorry. I know what I was outlined then. Forget about that story. Ah, shut up. Men shouldn't hang around in the kitchen. Go watch TV or something. So he chuckled and left. I know this sounds stupid, but I hate canned food. If somebody told me there was canned food in the meal I just ate, I'd throw up. It started with a silly thing. Kazai told me a horror story when I was little. You know, one of those urban legends. Meat made from an unknown source. Like those rumors about how there's worm meat mixed into burger patties or dog meat in beef bowls. Kazai had fun telling me one of those stories because of how scared I get. He had fun, but I obviously didn't. I even started to cry in the canned food section of a supermarket. That's how much I hated it. I don't freak out like that anymore, but I still don't like canned food. Since I don't like it, I don't force myself, and I now live my life naturally avoiding canned food. One of the big differences between us twins is that Mion doesn't have this issue. Kazai feels responsible for this, but he can't rid me of that fear. Still, a flaw like this is actually a good thing, otherwise I'd be too perfect. Kazai, set the table, will ya? Smells good. Thank you for doing this. If this isn't enough food, you can go to a beef bowl place later on or something. And don't turn off the TV. I hate having dinner in silence. Thank you for the meal. So, what is it, Kazai? You came here for something, didn't you? I handed him a cup of tea. I could wait until dinner was over, but I wanted to get to the point quick. I thought I should wait until we finish. But would you mind if I talk while eating? It's been bugging me since you got here. It'd be much easier for me to eat if you started talking now. We received a phone call from the school today. Today? That's late. Sounds like they didn't want to make it public. So, what happened? Akane took the call. She said she was going to tell your father when the time was right. Akane is my mom. That's what Kazai calls her, as he's known her since before her marriage. So, what'd she say? Looks like she answered the phone. Since she's relatively on my side. Other than calling you a brat, she didn't seem surprised by this outcome. I see. She hasn't told Dad yet? She's probably waiting for the right moment. I think she's going to in a couple of days. Dad's on the hag side. He'll definitely talk to her if he hears about it. Then she'll have her men bring me to her, and depending on my explanation, make me an offer a finger or two. Very scary. I wish you could laugh it off, but please remember you're not the only one. Ouch! You're eating too fast. I cooked too much rice and miso soup, so you'll have to have another round. At least 3 helpings, alright? A few days later, Mion told me the hag had heard about my escape. So how did she take it? Furious. She said that if you were in Okinomiya, she'd get you right away. Scary. And? Dad gonna do anything? They'll hold a family council soon to see if any of the family members are hiding you. Doesn't look like she'll have the greenhorns search for you all over town, though. Holding a family council means that things will remain in the hag's hands alone. She won't search the town for me. It's like she's unofficially approving my presence. Of course, I'll get caught immediately if they find me in a large public place. Seems like Mom did a lot to help me. I could tell she's being supportive. It's a long story, but my mom is sort of an outlaw, even though she is of the Sonozaki bloodline. A long time ago, she had a huge fight with the hag because she hated the family rules and traditions. She was even excommunicated. My mom was supposed to be the successor, but she was deprived of the title and Sis took her place. While she's quiet now, Mom is still an outlaw. She's always been on my side because I always hated rules and traditions. Dad was flaring up at first, but Mom pacified him. You can't win against her after all. Okay, thanks. Let me know if something comes up. If things really go bad, I'm ready to leave town. I can't let Kazai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Mom lose face. Sis, I know what you're thinking. You're asking yourself why only I have to go through this, even though we're twins. Mion was silent, so that meant yes. Is it fair that only you have to live like this? Absolutely not. Thanks, I appreciate your feelings. Tell me when you want to go out. I'll arrange my plans so I can trade places to you. She sounded apologetic. I shouldn't go quiet or agree with her. She sticks to things a little too much. When she goes down, she'll stay there for a while. I just told her simply. Thanks, that's really nice of you. Okay, I'm hanging up now. I'll talk to you later. A smudged diary. Hmm.
Oh, shit.
So, let's see this new tip. Sadako was crying while hiding behind my back. She's been crying while clinging onto me, so my back was wet with tears and snot. My aunt had been screaming hysterically, but she looks tired now. I suddenly realized that it was already past 1 in the morning. She vomited out a series of screams one last time and finally called it quits. She's exhausted, looking down at a state of shock. Even after my aunt walked away, she didn't realize she'd been freed. So I stroked her head and told her, "It's over, Sadako." She twitched. Her eyes grew bright again and tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked up in my face. She knew it was over, but wanted to hear it directly from me. She begged me with a look. To be honest, I was really exhausted too, so I felt a bit annoyed when she tried to make me say it. But I needed to pacify her, so I gently told her what she wanted to hear. She's done with her scolding, so I let it go. So let's go to sleep. All right? She clung to me while her tears continued to fall. She was crying again silently. She was shivering pitifully. Her small bag reminded me that there was nobody else to protect her. Here, go brush your teeth and make your bed and go to sleep. She smiled faintly and nodded. I felt dizzy. As I was released from the strain, a harsh drowsiness fell upon me. As Sadako was washing her face, I went to the toilet. I zoned out while watching my pee. What? Okay. In my dizziness, I almost missed a shot. Okay. So our tip talks about, Satoshi's pissing habits? Okay. I felt I was being sucked into the toilet. Oh God. I think we're living Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I couldn't even remember what caused it. Why did my aunt start screaming today? Holy shit. I'm just gonna fucking save it, take a break, and then fucking probably continue on with more of this shit.